Will the market go up or down? Should you lock in or float? Find out this and more with Master of the Markets.
Welcome to another edition of Master of the Markets. I'm Barry Habib at MBS Highway. This is created exclusively for Mortgage News Network. And I'll tell you what, last week was a quiet news week, but there was a lot of activity in the mortgage bond market. We did see mortgage prices really hit certain floors of support, ceilings of resistance, bounce around exactly on those levels. We had said last week, in a quiet news week, the technical factors really would take over. Now, the surrounding things that we saw, even though there wasn't economic news, there was a lot of talk about the tax proposal and especially about the mortgage tax deduction. So the mortgage tax deduction, as you know, it's an important aspect of buying a home, but maybe it's not as important as many people think. I know the National Association of Realtors, Home Builders Association, and Mortgage Bankers Association all want to preserve this, and they've made quite the ruckus about wanting to keep this and not supporting the current tax plan that's out there. But let's take a closer view, okay? So first, there's two plans now. We first had the House proposal, the House of Representatives, then the Senate comes out with its proposal, and then there's talk that this whole thing might be delayed till 2019 anyway. So we'll see. With respect to the differences in the proposal as it impacts the mortgage tax deduction, the biggest one is that the House proposal reduces the mortgage tax deduction from $1 million, where it currently is, down to $500,000. The Senate proposal keeps it at $1 million. But before everybody goes and pops champagne corks and says, hey, wow, the Senate proposal really preserves it, here's what you need to know. It's not the gross tax deductibility that you're concerned about. It's what is it over and above what you would have as a standard deduction. Now, that's in place today. People have a standard deduction. In other words, if you're renting, you're still going to get a tax deduction. It's a standard deduction. You don't have to itemize anything. If you're married, it's $12,700. If you're single, it's $6,350. If you're a head of household, $9,350 each year. So your tax deduction on a mortgage is only an amount over and above that, over and above the standard deduction. So when we take a look at what it would be buying versus renting comparisons, the difference between the two is narrowed. So you don't want to overstate the tax deduction, right? Now, when we take a look at both proposals, what they plan to do is essentially double the standard deduction. So therefore, it makes the difference between the mortgage tax deductibility and what you would normally get much smaller, even at $1 million. I mean, certainly much smaller at $500,000. So we have in MBS Highway, probably, we know, it's not probably, it's definitely the best buy versus rent comparison because we have actual data for historical and future rates of appreciation on the home broken down by each county. But we also have the comparison between what it is for tax deductibility on the home based on the interest in the real estate taxes, less the standard deduction. So we give you the actual tax deductibility. You can see that there's no wonder why only 24% of people today use the itemized tax deduction, take advantage of the mortgage tax deduction. The estimates are, if this tax proposal gets passed, either one, that it would be between 4 and 5% of all tax returns would be itemized. So essentially the mortgage tax deduction may go away. But here's the good news. I really don't think people purchase a home because of the tax deduction. I don't think people understand it. I don't think people know that the tax deduction, what they think they're getting, probably isn't what they're really getting anyway. It's much less after you consider it over and above the standard deduction. So I don't think that's the reason they purchase a home. I think that people are buying a home because of the appreciation that they receive, because of the lifestyle that they get. And I think that it's something that if you were to talk to your customers, it provides them the best forced savings plan in the world, and that is paying down your mortgage every month. People never talk about the buildup in equity just via normal amortization. So all these things, when you point them out to people, those are reasons to want to purchase a home. I don't think it's the tax deduction that they receive. Yes, it's a nice added bonus, but I really don't think it's going to make a difference, especially in this market with supply so tight and demand so strong. Now, as we look ahead to next week, or this week, I should say, as we look ahead to the week, there's going to be some inflation data, always very important in determining where interest rates are, and we're going to get some housing data. I expect that to continue to be strong, regardless of how the media is going to try and spin it. Housing data very, very strong. Last week, CoreLogic said home price appreciation actually accelerating now, 7% a year across the country. That's pretty darn strong. So take a look at signing up with us at MBS Highway. You'll get this every single day. I think it will really help you communicate to your customers, close more transactions, really beat your competition. All right, hope you guys have a great week. Talk to you next week.
This is Mortgage News Network.